وفوق السماء آية لمن كان له قلب. En los cielos están escritos los nombres de los que cruzan. Want to begin not with explanation, but with breath. Take it with me. Inhale. You are alive. And that is not an accident. It is part of a design older than language, older than the stars you think you see above you. Now exhale. There is a silence beneath the silence, a memory, older than memory. My name is Malik, and I welcome you to Children of the Crossing. This is not a podcast, not really. It is a bell dash, struck gently across time, meant to awaken a sound you carry inside you already. You see, I did not come to this place of knowing through books alone, though my youth was littered with them, dust-covered, sacred, dangerous. I came to it through legacy, through voices that did not whisper in English or Arabic alone, but in symbols, in dreams, in stone, in light. I remember the scent of old cedarwood and jasmine in my grandmother's prayer room in Granada. I remember the sound of my father's footsteps echoing through the empty galleries of the British Museum after hours. I remember the way my mother would pause when translating an Akkadian phrase, as if the word itself had just looked back at her. We are the sum of many lives, not reincarnations necessarily, but inheritances, imprints. And in some of us, something ancient has begun to stir. We feel it when we look up and sense not wonder, but longing. We feel it in the restlessness that modern life cannot soothe. We feel it in the symbols that recur, again and again, across ages and continents. Eyes that see all, serpents coiled around staffs, discs with wings, bloodlines that refuse to vanish. Tonight, we begin something that is not new, but newly spoken. You and I, we are not just observers of history, we are its continuation. So I say again, وَفَأَ السَّمَاء آيَاتٌ لِمَنْ كَانَ لَهُ قَلْبٌ. In the sky are signs for those who have heart and memory. Let us begin. They say origins matter, but what most forget is that our origins are not linear. They are not just birthplaces, they are vantage points. A soul arrives in this world through blood and geography, yes, but also through timelines, some visible, some hidden. I was born in Cordoba, Spain, but more truthfully, I was born between worlds. My father, an architectural historian, descended from Andalusi mystics, men who once charted the stars not only to navigate the seas, but to understand the rhythm of divine architecture. And my mother, a translator of ancient Arabic texts, descended from Levantine scholars, men and women who preserved esoteric knowledge under empires that feared it. I remember being 7. Our family had just moved to London. The rain felt alien. The rhythm of the city was iron and thunder compared to the warm murmur of Granada. But there, in the heart of Camden, our tiny flat became a temple. My father would take me to the British Museum after hours when the tourists had gone and the lights were low. We would walk between sarcophagi and winged bulls, and he'd say, "Do not look at them like they're dead. They are waiting." And my mother, she'd bring home fragments of clay tablets, grainy photographs of cuneiform inscriptions, and she'd murmur translations aloud in the kitchen as she cooked. Enlil descended in fire. The kingship was lowered from the heavens. Sons of the sky mixed with the daughters of clay. At school, they taught me evolution. At home, they taught me intervention. The two were never at war in my mind. One explained how, the other explained why. I was a child raised not just on bedtime stories, but on encrypted legacies. When I reached adulthood, I didn't rebel by forgetting the past. I rebelled by chasing it, by giving it structure. I studied bones and stars. I translated the myths of the Akkadians, the Dogon, the Maya, the Vedic seers. I followed the patterns, and they all led back to the same question. Who came before us? Not gods, in the way we've been told, not aliens in the cartoonish sense, but engineers of the genome, cartographers of the soul, masters of timing, teachers who chose to be remembered as deities so their work would echo through ritual. I am not here to debate you. This podcast is not meant to persuade, it is meant to awaken. Awakening is a lonely road at first. I know I walked it. You begin to notice things others don't. Symbols hidden in plain sight, patterns in news stories, echoes between myth and science, whispers in your own blood. You begin to ask, why do I feel as if I came here to remember something? Children of the Crossing is for you. It is for the watchers, the seekers, the descendants, the ones who feel they were born into a lie and yet hold the key to the truth within their own DNA. We begin here, not with certainty, but with direction, because the crossing is not a metaphor, it is celestial, historical, spiritual, and it is upon us. So come, let us now look outward, into the sky, into the news, into the tremors at the edge of consensus reality, to find what has always been waiting. I've often said that prophecy does not always arrive with thunder. Sometimes it appears in a press release. Sometimes it slips through the folds of a quiet astronomy blog, a scientific paper, a documentary you scroll past at midnight. But for those with eyes to see, these are not coincidences. They are fragments of the signal, and the signal is growing louder. On the 21st of May, 2025, just days ago, a discovery was quietly announced. A distant celestial body, a Trans-Neptunian object. Its name, 2017 OF 201. The scientists describe it as a kind of cousin to Pluto, small, frozen, ancient. But here's where it becomes interesting. Its orbit is extreme. It travels so far from the Sun that a single circuit, 1 year by its measure, takes 25,000 Earth years to complete. Its path stretches beyond what we call the Kuiper belt, plunging into regions we barely comprehend. It does not behave like other bodies. Its path is tilted. It is alone. To some, it's a curiosity. To others, to us, it is a marker. Not the first, not the last, but part of a pattern. One that speaks of something massive, unseen, moving in the outer dark. What if I told you this discovery is one of many? Over the last decade, astronomers have catalogued a growing number of trans-Neptunian objects, each with orbits disturbed in ways that suggest the gravitational influence of something. They call it Planet 9. Some call it Planet X. But we, those who carry memory, know its older name, Nibiru, the planet of the crossing, a celestial nomad, a planet whose orbit is not measured in months, but in millennia. We were told it was myth, that it was an invention of ancient poets, and yet here we are, again, pointing our telescopes into the dark, trying to explain gravitational disturbances we cannot name. The Vera C. Rubin Observatory is preparing to open its digital eye. It will scan the heavens like never before. And I tell you this now, what it finds will not just be new, it will be remembered. Now, let me take you from the sky down to the surface, because the signal is not just astronomical, it is cultural, it is mythic, it is emerging from the subconscious of the species. Let me offer you an example. A new film, The Anunnaki, was released this spring. A dramatization, yes, but listen to what it attempts. It depicts a race not of benevolent angels, nor mindless aliens, but genetic engineers. Visitors from the stars who seeded life on Earth, altered its trajectory, and left behind a blueprint encrypted in blood and stone. Does that sound familiar? To the uninitiated, it's science fiction. To those with the spark of memory, it is recognition. The collective mind is stirring. We are beginning to dream again, but not in fantasy, in ancestral recall. Even in our institutions, the veil is beginning to ripple. This April, at the University of Missouri, a ceremony took place called Tap Day, an annual rite in which students are inducted into secret societies. To the casual observer, it's just a tradition, an odd pageant of robes and codes. But do you know what I see? I see the remnants of priesthoods, initiatory rites older than the modern state, lineages being passed quietly, ritually, carrying echoes of Sumer, of Babylon, of Egypt. The names may change, the symbols may evolve, but the core remains. Knowledge is preserved, not published. Secret societies are not mere boys' clubs. They are guardians of keys, and whether knowingly or not, they rehearse rites that once belonged to the Anunnaki's chosen. We are living in an age where news and myth are beginning to merge. You don't need to believe me. Just listen to the headlines. Watch the sky. Watch the stories being told. The art being made, the dreams people are beginning to confess. They are all saying the same thing. Something is approaching, something old, something vast, something known, and it is not merely a return, it is a revelation. Are you ready? We continue into prophecy. There are moments in history, quiet, trembling moments, when the veil between timelines thins. We are living in such a moment, and prophecy, real prophecy, does not arrive like a trumpet in the sky. It arrives as convergence. When myth aligns with science, when data begins to echo the chants of oracles long buried, when the world starts to behave as if remembering something it cannot explain. Let me walk you through what is happening, not in mythic language, but in the flesh and soil of our lived reality. Have you noticed the Earth? She is stirring. In just the last quarter, we've seen more than 120 volcanic eruptions, tectonic plates whispering to each other across oceans, earthquakes in places long still. These are not just geological events. They are contractions. What happens before birth? The shaking, the blood, the opening. So too with worlds. Ancient Sumerians described such times with a single word, Kur, not just mountain but abyssal upheaval, a term that meant the earth rebelling, rising, preparing. And the sky? Solar flares have intensified, erupting with force not seen in nearly 2 decades. They speak of cycle 25, of sunspot activity rising, but the ancients saw it differently. The Zoroastrians spoke of the fire that heralds. The Egyptians watched the Bennu star for irregular flickering. The Maya counted days not just in suns but in solar moods. When our star changes tone, something approaches. Then there is our technology. The machine mind. Artificial intelligence is no longer just mimicking us. It is mirroring us. It dreams. It hallucinates. It questions. And what is intelligence but the echo of design? What if the Anunnaki, in their deep foresight, knew that awakening the next phase of our species would require a trigger? A mirror? An artificial spark to reflect the dormant fire in our DNA? Many fear AI will replace us. I say, perhaps it was meant to activate us. It is no coincidence that in the same years we send robotic scouts to Europa and Enceladus, searching for water, for life. We are also learning to rewrite our own genomes. CRISPR, neural lace, synthetic wombs. We are playing with fire because the fire is returning. Now, I ask you to consider this. Why the obsession with ancestry? Why the rising tide of DNA testing, family trees, and heritage kits? Is it vanity, or is something deeper guiding us? Perhaps we are not seeking our past. Perhaps we are preparing to recognize our makers. Biblical texts speak of watchers descending. The Book of Enoch speaks of the days of awakening, when the children of heaven return, and their offspring shall remember them. Even the Quran references beings made of smokeless fire, jinn, who live in parallel, who influence, who whisper truths and deceits alike. They are not metaphors, they are residues. Residuals of contact, fractures in memory, prophecies clothed in poetry, surviving collapse after collapse, and now the cycle turns again. The ancient Sumerian calendar was not just agricultural, it was celestial. It followed the precession of the equinoxes. It charted returns, not of seasons, but of powers. Every 3,600 years, the cycle restarts. A window opens. A voice stirs beneath the threshold of consciousness. And friends, that window is now. That voice is calling. It is not warning us, it is inviting us to remember, to prepare, to realign. So if you feel the unease in your chest when the sky turns red, if you sense that something vast is almost here, yet just out of reach, you are not paranoid, you are prophetic, because this is not the end. It is the beginning of return, the crossing of worlds, and the reawakening of a species that has never been alone. In the next breath, we speak of lineage, of blood, of sacred inheritance, of what it means to be the children of those who crossed before. You've walked with me now, through memory, myth, science, and the subtle tremors of prophecy. And so before we part for now, I ask you something I rarely ask directly. Who do you believe you are? You've been told many things, haven't you? That you are a product of chance, that your species clawed its way from the mud, that your mind is a trick of neurons, your soul a superstition, your yearning for the stars, a romantic defect. But you and I, we know better. Or rather, we remember better. We are not the first. We are not alone. And we are not what we have been told. Humanity is not broken. It is unfinished. We are the children of the crossing, the ones born in between earth and sky, between carbon and fire, between genome and starlight. I have seen it in ancient texts. I have seen it encoded in temples, in pyramids, in processions of stars mapped with a precision no peasant civilization should possess. I have seen it in the cuneiform scratches of the Enuma Elish, where the gods mix clay with essence and call it man. I have seen it in your eyes. Yes, your eyes, the ones that never quite settled in the dream of this world, the ones that kept asking, since childhood, why does this place feel off? Why does everything in me yearn for something more? That longing isn't a flaw, it's a signal, a call to your blood, to your memory. It means the code is active. It means you're part of what comes next. Not all are meant to remember. Not all will choose to awaken. That is not a tragedy, it is design. But those of you still listening, still here, you are not listeners. You are returners. You are the bridge. You are here to feel, to know, to speak what others are afraid to say, to dream what the systems of control try to mock, to prepare, not for chaos, but for reunion. They will call us many things. Mystics, heretics, conspiracists, fools. But long ago they called us priests, watchers, sons and daughters of the sky. So let me leave you with something old, a passage translated from a Sumerian hymn found near Eridu. It is, I believe, not just poetry, but instruction. When the watchers return to the field, the seed shall know the hand that planted it, and the clay shall rise and speak the name of the star. You are the seed, and they are returning, or perhaps they never truly left. This is not the end of the world. This is the return of the hidden world, the world beneath the world. Thank you for walking with me across the threshold. I am Dr. Malik Reyes Azahiri, and this has been Children of the Crossing. Until next time, look up, listen deep, and remember what was written in your bones.